We have a great guest speaker, Paul Takac, like take action. I love that. He's a state house rep, and we'll be getting to that a little bit. But before that, I just want you all to know that Tuesday is our first day. Tuesday is our first day for our PA event. It's an organizing event. It's at 6 p.m. I'm going to be putting our link into the chat very soon. I want to introduce you all to Justin Latito, who's going to be running this for now. He is part of the PA HDCC. I hope I said that right. The Democratic Party in PA, and he's our partner in this. And he's the director of the Vote by Mail program. So without further ado, Justin.
Thanks, Bilal, for the introduction. Yeah, my name is Justin Lotito. I am the Vote by Mail director at the Pennsylvania House Democratic Campaign Committee. If you're not familiar with the HDCC, our goal as an organization, we work for like the House Democratic Caucus. So all of the electeds that represent, various Pennsylvanians in the state house that are Democrats. And like the goal of our organization is to work with the candidates, both incumbents and new candidates, to achieve a majority in Harrisburg. And, that's so important in Pennsylvania for all sorts of reasons that I'm going to get into later in the presentation. I also wanted to take a moment to introduce the other member of my team, Melinda Weddy. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Melinda Weddy. Pronouns are she, her. I am calling from Pittsburgh. I am a vote by mail organizer. So I work closely with Justin and the rest of the team at the HDCC. And I do a lot of these trainings, recruiting the volunteers. So we can call all across the Commonwealth, get you guys all to get everybody to call in their vote by mail, collect their ballots, that kind of thing. Back to you, Justin.
Yeah, and then also on my team is Braylon Quigley. She couldn't make it today. She had another obligation, but that's the Vote by Mail team. If you want to run to the next slide, Melinda. I'm going to take this moment to introduce our special guest. Mr. Paul Takac is a candidate out in Center County and other parts of central Pennsylvania. And from here, I'm going to kick it to him for his opening remarks. Paul?
Hi, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming today and thanks for this opportunity. As Justin said, my name's Paul Takac and I'm running for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in a brand new district, the 82nd, here in the heart of Center County. For those of you who may not be familiar with Pennsylvania, our district includes the main campus of Penn State University. So right smack in the middle of the state. And it would be a new seat and a new pickup for the Democratic Party here in Pennsylvania. I'm running because as a longtime member of our community, I care very deeply about the real and present issues that affect my friends and neighbors. I serve in local government, and I believe our region deserves a representative who will champion working families, public education, affordable healthcare, and so much more. And I'll work every single day in my district and in Harrisburg to make that happen. My team and I have been hard at work since May of last year, before we even had this new district, before the redistricting process was complete. But now with just 72 days to go before the general election in November, the days are beginning to fly by. We've got so much going on. We've already knocked over 6,900 doors. We have a really intense voter registration schedule and have already registered hundreds of Penn State students. And our team has developed a student relational organizing program that would be a real game changer for Penn State student engagement for years to come and possibly for other places as well. And here's why. There are countless issues on the ballot this November, and we need to elect candidates up and down the ballot who will preserve our rights and protect our democracy. One of the most pressing issues right now, something I hear every day, is defending the right to safe, legal, and accessible abortion here in Pennsylvania. I mean, according to a recent poll, 37% of registered voters in Pennsylvania believe abortion should be legal under any circumstances, and 52% more believe it should be illegal under certain circumstances. That's a whopping 89% total, clearly an overwhelming majority. And this is not just something Pennsylvania Democrats believe. I can't tell you how many Republicans and independents I've spoken to when I'm knocking those doors that agree that the far right has become far too extreme on this issue. The right to a safe, legal, and accessible abortion impacts so many marginalized communities, particularly communities of color, communities in poverty, and people who are in abusive or violent relationships. Women and people who can give birth should be empowered to make this deeply personal decision with their doctor and hopefully their families and support networks, not to have the right to decide stripped away by our legislature. Another issue that I'm personally very passionate about is fair and full funding for public education. As a businessman, I've worked to transform how students learn and classrooms function with educational across the Commonwealth. I've been in every school district. I've seen firsthand the negative impacts of a lack of funding in our public schools, both in urban and in rural sections. And particularly in rural areas, which are often also food and healthcare deserts. I mean, schools really become a community hub. It's where students have the most food security, with many eligible for reduced or free breakfast and lunch plans. It's where students consistently have access to healthcare, with school nurses and doctors providing the care that they may not normally receive. And it's often the only place where students have even the remotest opportunity to access mental health care services. But those resources and that capacity are not enough, quite frankly. Both teachers and parents have spoken to me at length about how we need to increase all of these services in our schools. But that means we need to revamp and apply a fair funding formula here in Pennsylvania. We need to hold charter schools accountable. We need to make sure our budget is equipped to fully fund public education, shifting the burden off of already struggling communities and property owners, many of whom are already on fixed incomes. I mean, our own opponent has taken tens of thousands of dollars from charter school lobbyists and then advocated on their behalf during the previous campaigns. And we're sure he'll do the same for this one. That's unacceptable. On behalf of the students, teachers, and families in my district and in every district across the Commonwealth, I refuse to let our public schools deteriorate. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we can't achieve any of this if we don't protect our democracy and voting rights. Pennsylvania is truly a battleground state, with bad faith actors continuing to perpetuate the big lie, conspiracy theories of election fraud, and calls to restrict voting rights. The Republican candidate for governor of Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano, is an insurrectionist. He was there on January 6th. He stated that he wants to turn our Commonwealth into the, quote, Florida of the North, a place where Governor DeSantis just removed duly elected school board directors from office. And while Christian nationalists might support this, many of us here are frankly terrified by these actions. We believe fascism is on our ballot in November, and if we don't vote, we will literally lose grasp of our democracy. In my district, I have to do a lot of talking with persuadable Republicans and independents to get the votes we need. But across the board, we need to see record turnout from Democrats to make sure that we secure the governor's mansion, flip a United States Senate seat, and flip the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, which we have the most legitimate chance to do for the first time in decades. And the most convenient and reliable way to ensure all of that is to vote by mail. It's so easy to request a mail-in ballot, either online at vote.pa.gov or by mail. You can pick up a form at your county elections office or through county parties. And with so many Pennsylvania voters working full-time and with families, making it out to the polls on election day is sometimes a challenge. That has been one of the really big things that we've seen now that it's allowed in Pennsylvania. It takes the guesswork out of it. It can be dropped off at an approved mailbox or mailed in at your convenience. And it also gives you time to do more research on candidates, local ballot initiatives, constitutional amendments, and everything else. So we need to amplify awareness about the convenience and benefits of mail-in ballots. So please, if you can, make sure you sign up for a phone bank and help us spread that word. Justin and the good folks at the HDCC will have more information to share with you. And of course, if you'd like to volunteer for our campaign, wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say that you could sign up at the link in our chat. So thank you all so much for your time, for your commitment to democracy and democratic candidates. We are so grateful for your support. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Justin. And if we have some time, my campaign manager, Hillary Caldwell, and I would be happy to take some questions.
Yeah, I think we absolutely have time for 2 or 3 questions. So the way I'd like to do this is, if you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand. I cannot promise that I can take a question from everybody, but I would like to get as many as I can in. So let's go. And anybody, I see that a cat at a computer had a question. Melinda, would you like to unmute that?
Yes, I will do that.
You don't have to speak with a mic based on what they say in the chat. Please,
yeah,
drop
you
your
can
question in the chat.
yeah, you can put that in the chat for us. Cat at a computer.
Just use your pause to bang away at that keyboard there.
Absolutely.
Oh, I hear a dog in the background too.
Yeah,
maybe
that's my dog.
Save
I
me
think
from the dog.
They know I'm talking to a cat. Sorry about that.
Melinda's dogs are on all of our meetings.
They're phone bank regulars. Yes.
That's one of the best things about video conferencing, is getting to know everyone's pets and kids and everything else. It's often a great great break.
So Justin, do you want to read the cat question?
It looks like we have the question from Cat at a Computer in chat, and the question reads: what do you plan to do in response to the massive attacks on trans rights, trans youth, and trans healthcare?
So in Pennsylvania, it's one of 27 states that do not have full legal protection for everyone in the LGBTQ plus community. There have been proposals in the past for a Pennsylvania Fairness Act, which I believe really needs to pass. But because of gerrymandering and because of this completely locked down Republican majority, which is completely antithetical to the actual demographics of the state, those things have been locked up in committee. They, in fact, are trying to roll back those rights. And so we have an opportunity to move that ball forward in the legislature. And with a Democratic governor in place, we'll be able to advance that. I mean, I can tell you, I have a family member who's a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and one of the challenges of running for office, quite frankly, was fear of retaliation from job or employment, or public access to public accommodations. It's a sad reality that folks in our communities are not treated fully and fairly, and we need to do a much better job of doing that, and frankly, legislatively is the best opportunity to do that. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much, Paul. Do we have somebody else that wants to raise their hand? I see that William. Would you like to drop your question in chat? And then I see Cameron as well, so I'll get Cameron for a third question.
Here you go. You can trying to unmute you here.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Hello, William.
Hello. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for that brief presentation of your campaign. I just want to ask that besides having safe, legal, and accessible abortion rights for Pennsylvanians and funding for public school systems, what are some of the other major concerns that Pennsylvanians have towards their just healthcare, not healthcare, for their healthcare, or just for pressing issues in general that we can speak on?
Sure. Oh, my gosh, the list is long. However, I think we can boil it down to some of the key themes are really support for working families. First and foremost, I mean, people are very concerned about inflation and about, you know, the challenges that go along economically, not only broadly, but specifically within many of our communities. Our district spans, as I mentioned, the Penn State main campus. So there's a lot of students as an important constituency. There's a lot of staff and faculty as well. But then in the more northern areas of Center County, those are communities that at one time were mining communities or lumbering communities or others, and they're seeing population decline. They're seeing real economic challenges. So it's being able to articulate what support for working families means. It's making sure that you have affordable and accessible healthcare, including mental health care services and dental and all the rest. It's making sure that we're addressing childcare needs and elder care needs and those kinds of things that are barriers to employment. I mentioned full and fair funding for education, K-12. It's also higher education. Our Pennsylvania is one of the bottom 5 states in terms of the percentage of public funding for education. And so as a result, that access is not there for a lot of folks to go and get a post-secondary certification or a degree or some sort of training. And often when they come out, they're burdened with incredible debt. So we need to reform that system to make sure that that's there too. I think we need to invest in the environment, in the economy. Pennsylvania has been a fossil fuel producing state. I mean, we've led the nation in many ways for well over 100 years in terms of fossil fuels. But if we're going to lead in the next 100 years, we have to begin that shift to a clean energy economy and a renewable energy economy. And we're doing that at the local level, but there are barriers, and we need to be much more comprehensive in doing that. So the list is long, but those are the things that we hear from people. And, you know, I serve on local, as mentioned, in local government. There's lots of issues that we're trying to address locally that we really need some help with at the state level. And with so much now coming back to the states from the Supreme Court and others, we have a real chance to make a big difference in people's lives.
Okay, thank you. Next one is Cameron.
Hi. Hi. I'm so excited to phone bank and to help with this campaign, and was so excited to hear that you're supporting working families, and we're using inclusive language when talking about, you know, the need to protect abortion rights. And so I guess just to know you a little bit better, I was wondering if there was something that sparked your campaign or something that led you to running this race.
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, there are so many threads, but my wife, Regan, and I, we raised our kids in this community. They've gone to the public schools. We've been engaged with, you know, church groups and youth sports organizations and community organizations for a long time. And we feel that this is a very special place, and we're very invested in our community. During that time, I've had the opportunity to work, as I mentioned, in educational technology. So I had this broad perspective statewide around education, but of course it extends into local economics and school boards and other types of things. I had the good fortune a few years back to have the opportunity to run for local office. And what I found was that I loved the work, and that my experience and knowledge and skills that I'd been developing over my business career and others really lent itself to being effective in getting things done and finding solutions and working across the aisle. I'm very proud to say that even my Republican colleagues on our local council that I serve on have endorsed me. So I saw that how dysfunctional Harrisburg was, and for so many reasons, you know, but I'd been thinking about it, but we're really, I have to say, what galvanized my decision was January 6th and the realization that this was literally a fight for our democracy, that 2022 was going to be a hugely important year, not only just in and of itself, but going forward into the next presidential election and others. I mean, we have people, Doug Mastriano, the person who's running for the Pennsylvania governorship, actually said that he would be in a position to pick the winner of our election in 2024 if he were governor, that he would be able to make sure that the ballots that didn't count, i.e. the ones he didn't want, weren't counted. So that galvanized me and my team. We originally started running against the majority leader. It was a bit of a quixotic kind of a thing, but we had to take it on because it felt like a very existential thing. And we've worked through that, and we now have a great opportunity to win a seat and potentially flip the Pennsylvania House. So I apologize if that's a long answer, but that's sort of the evolution of how we got to where we are today.
Thank you. Right, I think we have one last question, and it's Ryan, and I've asked Ryan to unmute, but if you want to drop that question in the chat instead. Okay, so Ryan asks, you mentioned Penn State students being a driving force in the election. What do you think are the most important issues for the Penn State students? And then Hillary says, I'd be happy to take this one if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah, everybody get a chance to meet Hillary.
Yeah.
That'd be a great opportunity.
Hillary, if you want to come off mute, let me unmute you here. Let me find where you are. There we go.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. No, that's a really great question. And to give a little bit of context and background, we have been so fortunate to have the most incredible team of student interns that have really been helping us shape and inform, like, you know, what issues are affecting our student voters and how best we can talk about them and reach our students. Especially post-Roe, access to like full access to safe and legal abortion and really ensuring reproductive rights for people is certainly at the top of the list. We've noticed that environmental justice is another really big one for our students, as well as eliminating student debt. And we can thank President Biden for that recent act. But, you know, knowing that there is still so much work to do in terms of making higher education and quality higher education much more affordable for folks. And then particularly for a lot of our students who live on campus, there has been a lot of discussion about sexual assault and violence specifically on campus and how best to have leadership who can really encourage work with the borough and the other municipalities in our region to really make sure that our students feel empowered when they are on campus and that they know that they have resources. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Hillary.
Paul, did you have anything you wanted to add on top of that?
Just, I from the very beginning, our campaign has been a people-powered campaign. I'm very proud of the fact to say that we've got well over 1,000 individual financial donors. We've got an incredible network of local volunteers and, as Hillary mentioned, you know, interns and others. But the work that you all are doing is so important. And I just can't tell you how grateful we are for your support. It makes a huge difference. And I'm just very fortunate to have had this opportunity. So thank you, Justin. Thank you all for hosting this. We'll step into the background now and let you carry it from there. But from my heart, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
pleasure.
Yes, again, thank you so much, Paul. It's good to have you on. Melinda, could you please share your screen? You got the slides coming up now. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, just to go over the agenda for today, we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about what vote by mail looks like in the state of Pennsylvania. We are going to talk about like some specifics about the request process. we are going to talk about like ways that you can get involved with like through participating in our phone banks. And then, you know, when you walk out of this session, hopefully you will have been armed with the tools to empower voters and other volunteers with this information, right? So next slide, please. Let's talk about vote by mail in Pennsylvania. In 2019, Act 77 was passed, which like authorized the Department of State to give like no excuse mail-in ballots. So anybody who wants a mail-in ballot can fill out a form and request it. They don't need a reason. We're going to talk about absentee ballots in a little bit and how they're slightly different from mail-in ballots, but functionally they are the same thing. This bill went to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court because the very Republican legislature who passed the bill in 2019 decided that they thought it was unconstitutional. So they brought us to the Supreme Court. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said, nope, this law is constitutional. So it is here to stay. One of the biggest areas of concern and misinformation around mail-in ballots is surrounding security. Voting by mail is safe and easy and secure. Every ballot that's sent out has a unique ID number that the Department of State keeps track of. At every step of the process, they send you confirmations by email and text and give you tracking numbers, and there are trackers on their website. So the request process itself is pretty easy. See a question in the chat. Yeah, so you're Melinda. Okay, so just to answer the question in the chat, Act 77 is the act that legalizes or that provides for no excuse mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, and it was challenged in the Supreme Court, but the law was upheld. Sorry,
are we good to go forward?
Yes.
Okay.
There are several ways to request a ballot. It's easy. The easiest way to do it is online, right? Vote.pa.gov. There are a few other ways. You can print a PDF from the website. You can get and then fill it out by hand, sign it, mail it back to the Board of Elections, or drop it off. You can request the form be mailed to you online or by calling 1-877-VOTES-PA, or by emailing ra-voterreg@pa.gov. Now, these other ways of requesting it are less common. However, they are worth knowing because a lot of the people that vote by mail, and some of them are older, some of them don't have a computer, right? And having these other ways on hand is valuable. Now, in order to request the ballot, you're going to need one of two bits of information. You either need the last four digits of your social and a signature, or your Pennsylvania ID or driver's license number. Most people can do the first, but the second is valuable for if you're filling out the form and signing it and you don't have a driver's license. The important dates are down the road, but still coming quickly. November 1st is the last day to request a mail-in ballot. The request needs to be received by the Board of Elections at 5 p.m. That being said, November 1st to Election Day, just 7 days, is not a lot of time for the Board of Elections to review your application and send you a mail-in ballot in the mail that you're going to receive in time to give back to them on Election Day. So if people are requesting ballots that late, number one, we want them to do it earlier. Number two, we recommend that they go directly to the Board of Elections and fill out the paperwork there and hand it to them. So that way the Board of Elections can give them a ballot back. In terms of other forms of ID that can be used in place of a driver's license, it has to be Pennsylvania state ID or a Pennsylvania state driver's license in order to fill it out online, right? You could use your the last four of your social and your signature for a request if you don't have that kind of ID. Like the process is basically the same, except you have to fill out a paper form instead of being able to do it online. So now we talked about mail-in versus absentee ballots. The decision is the differentiation is simple, right? Mail-in ballot voting, anyone can request for any reason, and if you vote by absentee ballot, it's because you can't be in town on election day, right? Or you have some sort of disability that prevents you from going. And on the form, it requires that you list your reason. Now, a mail-in ballot and an absentee ballot, when you get it sent to you, look the same and work the same. The other big caveat regarding vote by mail is that there's an option when you fill out your ballot request form that says annual ballot request, and you can check a box that says I would like a request sent to me every year. Now, once you fill out the request once, if you have checked off that box, they will send you a mail-in ballot automatically in the fall. So sometimes when you're on the phone with somebody, they'll say, I think I already requested it. They send me one every year. And then the follow-up question is, cool, did you vote by mail in the primary? And if they did, then they're good. And if they didn't vote by mail in the primary, then to be sure, they should check the tracker link that we have and we can give them, or they can call their local board of elections to double check. But yeah, moving on with that, there is the tracker online that we discussed. But let me take some questions in the chat. This is going to be a good time to stop and take questions in the chat before we move on to the next part of the presentation. So let me go back. So when we to answer Canada Computer's questions in the chat, the first way to do it, Melinda covered. It's vote.pa.gov. If you go to that website, the first thing that you're going to see on the home, on the landing page, is request a mail-in ballot here. For the other ways, when we do these phone banks, we have a volunteer dashboard, which is a Google Doc that we send out, or a PDF with links to the websites that to the various trackers, and that explain and link to the various forms that you can print out and explain all of the other ways that somebody can request a mail-in ballot. But the two most common ways are filling it out on the website at vote.pa.gov, or by going to your county board of elections and filling out the form, or calling them and requesting the form be sent. Okay, give me one moment to see any other questions. Okay. Melinda, can you unmute Bilal real quick?
Yes, I sure can.
Excellent. So we're going to move on to a quick bump for Bilal. Cat of the Computer, that's going to be the County Board of Elections. The County Board of Elections are the county-wide institutions that manage the elections. They usually work in conjunction with the Commissioner's Office.
Hey guys, Justin, you're doing a great job. This is very helpful. I just wanted to plug the Mobilize link one more time. I've been dropping in the chat, and a lot of you guys are signing up, and that's fantastic. I just want to say that this phone bank is unlike a lot of the other phone banking that we do. You're helping voters get their ballot, and they will be thankful that you called, that somebody actually reached out and ask them, hey, how can I make it easy for you to vote? So it's a fantastic opportunity to have really meaningful interactions. Oftentimes when we have a phone bank and we ID somebody, which means we figure out, hey, are they for us? Are they not for us? We then end the conversation, okay? So we have about 70 days left before the election. Am I right, Justin?
78, I believe.
Okay. So, this is perfect. This is amazing work that we'll be able to do. And we're going to start this Tuesday, hopefully 6 p.m. I'll drop the Mobilize link again. We'd love to get a good group of people to do this on a regular, if that's possible. We'll have a Tuesday crew come through, do this. We'll all have fun. And we'll see who gets the most ballots in. Right, Justin?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm confident that that's gonna be my team, but that's my job. Excellent, excellent. Awesome. So yeah, Bilal, thank you so much for dropping the link in the chat. It's gonna be Melinda and I on those phone banks helping you guys run them. Just to address something that I saw in chat in case you guys didn't see or hear it. At the beginning of every phone bank that we do, there is a brief training. We're going to talk about the structure of our phone banks in actually just a moment. Melinda, you want to hop to the next slide?
Yeah.
So, we have our own phone banks every Thursday and Saturday from at 6 and 11 respectively. However, you guys are going to have your own phone bank that Bilal just dropped the mobilized link to. It is in the chat. I believe that's going to be on Tuesdays. It's going to be a lot of fun. The structure of the script is very simple, right? We're calling voters in Pennsylvania in our target districts, right? Melinda, can you go back, please?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yep. We're going to call voters across Pennsylvania in our target districts. First question we ask, do you plan on voting for X candidate for State House? And we get a yes or no. If it's a no, then we say, thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Right. And if it's a yes, then we move forward with the conversation and help them request their mail-in ballot if they plan on voting by mail. That's simple. The way that the phone bank is laid out is that there is a Zoom meeting that we all hop on, not unlike this. And we are going to send you beforehand a PDF with all of our volunteer resources, including links to all the Department of State trackers and forms and websites. We have a link to our vote by mail FAQ document that you guys can refer to before and during the phone bank. It's given me useful. I look at it all the time when I make these calls. And also links to the County Board of Elections. So that way, if voters have a funky question or a weird situation that I can't answer or Melinda or one of the other organizers can't answer, we can refer them to the people in their county who are going to be making these decisions and get them the best clarity that we can. To that end, on these phone banks, myself and the other organizers are always sitting waiting in the Zoom room to take any questions you guys put in chat, or if it's a big question, we have you guys on mute, walk us through it, and we give it our best shot. So the goals of these phone banks are to call into battleground districts. We have a big list of like the closest races in Pennsylvania, the races that give us our path to a majority in the Pennsylvania State House, and we are going to talk to those voters. We're going to encourage them that voting by mail is safe, secure, and easy. If they plan on voting by mail, we're going to help them request their ballots if they haven't already, and then using the people that we've identified plus information from the Department of State later in the year, once the ballots are sent out, we're going to follow up with these people and we're going to help them fill out their ballots, put it through correctly. Fill out the ballots correctly, return them to the Board of Elections in a timely manner. So the script is simple. It starts out with, hi, my name is Justin. I'm calling with the Pennsylvania House Democrats. How are you doing today? And that first question is going to be IDing for their local state house candidate. Now, we have a lot of candidates that we're calling for. We do not expect you to be an expert on all of their policy points and all of their talking points. We should be calling mostly Democrats because of like the universe of voters that we're reaching out to. So there shouldn't be much of a need for like an undecided voter conversation. But if the voter is undecided, very simply, we explain to them in a sentence or two why you're voting blue and why voting for Democrats is important to you. Like, keep it generic to yourself, right? I support Democrats because I believe that everybody has the right to an abortion, right? I believe that, we need fair pay for fair work because I support unions, XYZ. And then we have referred to them. Can you go back, please, Melinda? We have to refer to them a a link to the candidate's website or their best social media page, right? Their most active social media page for more information. Ali, we do ask that you try your best to stick to the script, right? The script is simple, it flows. Obviously, I want you to be responsive to the conversation that you're having, right? However, like it is important to hit the questions. You're going to see that there is the script isn't super complicated, and the question and the conversation tends to move by very fast. So we think it's pretty solid, but obviously, like you should trust your own instincts to make the conversation feel, like you're a human being talking to another human being. Next slide, please. So once we get a yes from the voter, right, you're voting for your local Democrat. Excellent. Have you requested your mail-in ballot yet? Or do you plan on voting by mail? Once they request their if they say yes, they plan on voting by mail, then we walk them through the ballot request process. Awesome. Have you requested it yet? No? Awesome. We have the option to text them a link to the vote.pa.gov. And we have several other options that we're about to go over. But for your yes voters, some people may be undecided. You just got to reassure them. Voting by mail is safe and secure and easy. And if they're voting on election day, that's fine. We give them information for when their polling place is open, what the address of their polling place is, and then we say, thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Next slide, please. So if somebody is voting by mail and has not requested their ballot yet, we have the option to text to their cell phone a short text that says, you can request your ballot at vote.pa.gov. Thank you for your support. You can edit the phone number. So if you're calling a landline and they want it sent to their cell phone, you can change that phone number right there. We ask that you guys confirm it. But it's a really intuitive, built into the script way to reach out to get them that link. Really easy. Next slide, please. So that's the script. It's quite simple. You go, you confirm support for the Democrat. You find out if they're voting by mail, and if they're voting by mail, you walk them through the request process if they haven't requested it already. And these conversations are really pleasant. I saw something in the chat. I just want to review some of the questions that I saw. The goal of these phone banks is to talk to Democrats who are likely to vote by mail and help them request their ballots. So that way we have like a big group of people to follow up with, and we can cash in votes early once these ballots get sent out, right? We're going to follow up with these people. We're trying to generate a universe of people, get tags on everyone for who's requested a mail-in ballot, so that way we know who to follow up with. So will the PowerPoint be available afterwards? I see no reason that we can't share the PowerPoint. Right, Melinda, you made it. You cool sharing the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm fine.
So we will talk to Bilal, and we will figure out a way to get this to you guys if you would like to refer to it. Any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand or drop them in the chat. I know we just dropped a lot of information. Awesome. So from Michael, he says, "Hi Justin, thanks so much for the information. This is my first phone bank, or really political activism ever. What is your biggest piece of advice to give to a phone banker? A first-time phone banker like me." Also, Adam, thanks for coming. We'll make sure this PowerPoint gets sent out. So Michael, I've made a lot of these phone calls, but the biggest piece of advice that I have, this is an easy phone bank conversation, and voters like how direct that the script is. My biggest piece of advice is to just talk to them like a human being. There's a lot of, anxiety that you have when you cold call someone. Something that I feel all of the time. That God, who knows who this person is, who I'm walking into with this conversation. Maybe they're in a bad mood. Maybe they're going to be real mean to me. That being said, most of the time when you talk to somebody, they respond well and the conversation is at its best when you are just having a genuine conversation between two human beings, right? Cameron just dropped some good advice. Be willing to like make mistakes. It's okay. After every conversation I have, I'm like, darn, I should have said that differently, or if I would have taken this angle, it may have been different or more successful. But at the end of the day, you're talking to somebody else and you are doing good work. You're doing important work. And like you should have the confidence that that what you're doing is important and that this conversation is worth having, and be normal. Just be normal.
Can I share some?
Please.
So I go into these. I've been making calls since 2016. I called for Hillary, and I have been calling every election since. And I like to knock doors too. But my favorite advice that I like to give people, and this was given to me, so I didn't come up with it, is just know that you'll, number one, probably never have to talk to this person again. So, if they judge you, they judge you, and that is on them, not you. And number two, if they are grouchy or if they are mean, which these people probably won't be, it is a them problem, not a you problem. And it's and like Justin said, just talk to them like they're your friend. That's just how I try to go into it. I talk to them just like they're just like I'm calling a friend. I do stick to the script, but try to be loose about it, like depending on how, like, the vibe I pick up from the person. Like if they sound like they're rushed or I can hear a baby in the background or something, I just try to, like, I'll take a chunk out, or like, I can tell you're busy. So I just have 2 questions for you, that kind of thing.
And to that end, like the beauty of these conversations is that number one, I have done some playing around on the back end with how I generated these list of voters to talk to, where I tried to remove dinos, right? Democrats in name only. So people with a D next to their name that aren't necessarily voting for Democrats. That being said, the beauty of the conversation is that we are talking to friendly voters. And the script is short, and people are like, "Oh wow, that was it." Like, thank you so much, for helping me vote and like not being a total jerk.
Right.
So
okay, there's more to this. So let me share my screen again. There we go.
So Melinda, I think we're going to skip past the dialer part. I'd rather take this time to, if you want to skip to the end for the reshifting part. Yeah, so during our phone bank itself, we are going to walk you guys through. Actually, Melinda, let's unshare because this is the wrong information. Yep. We want to shift them into the special phone bank. No, that's totally fine. Okay. So I was just talking and then I lost my track. So to answer Ryan's question, for those of us out of state, does the fact that we are out of state ever come up while phone banking? If it does, is there any animosity? So, like, to that end, no. When the dialer, when you log on to our auto dialer, which we discuss in our training during the phone bank, how to use it, but it's very simple. When you hop on the auto dialer, it shows as a Pennsylvania phone number that comes up. So unless they ask where you're from, they're going to assume that you're calling from a 484 number, which is from outside the Philadelphia area. So feel free to bring it up if you'd like to, but I don't remember it ever coming up or any of our other out-of-state volunteers ever bringing it up. But that's absolutely fine. Like, you should call into Pennsylvania. You shouldn't be like ashamed of it or like try and hide it from anybody. So in terms of the Juan's question, are we doing this weekly from 6 to 9? So we do it, we have it from 6 to 8. We are happy to like, if you have to hop on a little bit later, like that's totally fine. Or if you have to leave a little bit early, that's totally fine. Like, we're happy to have people on whenever you can come, right? We want to be accommodating to people's schedules. The timing for the phone banks in the future may change as Bilal and I figure out what works best for all of you, as well as our respective teams. But we will make sure to keep you all of you folks updated on the scheduling. As of right now, however, I want to just really quickly. Everything is in Eastern time. These times that I'm talking about for our not East Coast people. But let me just drop the link to the event in the chat again, because I'm really excited to see a lot of you in the future. And then I'm going to go through more of those questions.
Hey, Justin, Melinda, thank you so much for this. I want to talk to our Twitch channel for a moment. I'm going to give you a link to our Discord. And so if you are watching us in Twitch right now, please follow this link to join the Progressive Victory 2022 Discord. We're going to see you there and hopefully give you all the information that you're asking for. For anyone who's still hanging on Twitch, we're going to raid you out to another political streamer. Tell them about the activism we're doing, and together we can win in 2022.
Excellent. Yeah. So thank you so much for the plug for all of our everybody following in Twitch stream. Let's see. Let's get back to the questions. Thank you for the flag about my my camera. I don't know what's going on. Cat at a computer. Thank you for the flag. We encourage everybody to join the phone banks. So yeah, especially we understand a lot of you from out of state. A lot of our volunteers are from out of state. So let me try and turn off my camera, see if that helps with the power, with the flashing. Should I be able to turn it back on now? That's okay. That's fine. If my camera's glitching, my camera's glitching. And I don't want to be distracting people. Keeping going through the chat. Excellent. You guys got us for another 5 minutes before we want to wrap the event. Do you have any other questions? Any other comments? I'm really excited to have you guys on these phone banks. Melinda and I are going to be running it along with Bilal. So we're super excited to have all of you join us. And yeah, any other questions? Drop them in chat.
Just want to quickly say thank you so much to Team PA for showing up in a strong way, bringing our people in, and thank you everybody who came through and signed up. We have over, I think, 20 signups at this point, and we're going to continue to recruit. PA is an extremely important state for the midterms, guys. It's an important state for abortion rights. It's an important state for national context. So helping out in PA will have repercussions down the line in even 2024. So please take it seriously. Come through. We're gonna have lots of fun. It'll be very interesting. We'll learn how to get folks signed up and get them going. Turn out the vote. So let's do it. All right. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melinda.
Of course, yeah. So again, we have the link to the Discord in the chat, as well as the link to our phone bank this upcoming Tuesday. Please, everybody, sign up. We are so excited to have all of you. And last week, we did one of these phone banks on Thursday with the rest of the HDCC field staff, and they all walked out of that phone bank saying, "Wow, these were some of the most pleasant conversations that we have had in years on a phone bank." So I'm serious. Like, I think this is the vibes are good. The conversations are good. Come join us.
Yeah. And like we said, we have lots of out-of-state volunteers, and it's we would love to have you. We have a good time.
All right. We're gonna end the meeting. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Justin. We'll stay in touch. All right.
Okay.
See y'all on Discord. Bye.